In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the top 5 questions you will likely be asked as an F1 student visa interviewer. Now, my name is Lavina. I have done the US visa interview 2 times. First time, I was a tourist, and second one, I was a student. And in all of those interviews, I was given my visa in under 4 minutes. I spent a lot of time researching and compiling all of these questions and answers, and I realized that it really came down to these 5 questions or variations of these 5 questions. And in this video, I'll be sharing with you all about them. I will also be attaching timestamps throughout this video so that you can go back and rewatch any section. I highly recommend you go through all of the 4 questions before the 5th question, because the 5th type of question may or may not be asked, especially if you learn how to answer the top 4 most common questions. Otherwise, let's get started. The first question you are undoubtedly going to be asked is going to be related to the purpose of your trip to the United States. As a tourist, I was asked this as my first question, and also as a student, I was asked this as my first question. Now, the way you ask this question might vary. It can be something like, what are you going to do in America? Why are you applying for this visa? Or simply, why are you here today? So depending on how you answer this question, it's going to set the tone and the pace for how you're going to be perceived throughout your entire interview. So it is very, very important that you give your first impression, because at this time, maybe they haven't even said hello to you. They just want to know, based on this first answer, who you are. So it's very important. Now, here's how I recommend answering this question. I am preparing to go and study in the United States for a master's in computer science from the University of Boston. This is a program that I have been working towards for a few months now, and it is scheduled to begin in August of 2026. Now, this answer is very comprehensive while still being concise. In this answer, we've told them what we're going to study, where we're going to study, and even when the program is going to begin. Feel free to use this template, but it is both short and sweet. The second question, or maybe let me call it the second kind of question, is tailored at assessing whether you are who you say you are. In this case, are you really going to America to study? So you might be asked this question in different ways. For example, what are you going to study? Where are you going to study? Why did you choose this program? Anything that relates to you being a student in America. Now, this is an example of how you can answer one of those questions. I'm choosing to pursue my master's in business analytics from the University of Washington because this program really distinguished itself when I was doing my research on what university to go for. The reason as to why I chose this particular program from this university is because when I will be studying throughout the program, they will be connecting us with industry experience, particularly working with companies that will give us raw data. This is data that they use in their day-to-day life, and we can use that to experiment and apply in some of the classes we're learning. I love that we'll be learning AI and machine learning, which are both very in-demand technological skills, and the University of Washington has set itself apart in investing a lot of money to ensure that it is up to date in these types of education, and it also has faculty that have experience from the industry, and they bring that to the classroom. So I'm really excited about that. So the third type of question you're going to be asked is going to be about proof of funds. Now, if you have a full scholarship, congratulations, by the way. Good for you. So the school will most probably include this in your I-20 as a deductible, and if you have everything fully covered, that's great. So it should all balance out to 0. So be sure to also carry that particular scholarship letter and any other documentation that you need to show that truly you have been offered these resources. Now, if you don't have a full scholarship, like me, what I had to do was to show whoever was going to be funding my education had sufficient resources. Now, this could be in form of a bank statement, a letter, whoever it is that is going to be supporting you, especially if they are not family, or a loan offer letter, whatever is the case. So in my situation, how I answered this was, this person is going to be funding me throughout my education. This is what they do for a living. this is how much they make every month, and this is how much they have stored up in cash reserve. I also told them that this program that I'm going to study costs this amount of money, both tuition and living expenses, and there is an available cash reserve to support me throughout my education. Now, I also told them that I have sufficient documentation if they would like to take a look. And the lady said that will not be necessary. Now, already she felt confident based on how I had answered that I was able to sustain myself throughout my education in America without being a liability to the United States. Depending on your situation, if this is your uncle or somebody who is not very close to you, you do want to bring more supporting documentation. So this could be a written letter to show why they're choosing to fund your education. So this could be something like, if they have a company, you have this agreement that once you graduate, you're going to come back and work for them, or any other resources or reason you want to give. If it's a loan offer letter, definitely supporting that particular letter that says that you've already been pre-approved for this amount of money, and so on and so forth. Now that's how you show your proof of funding, which is very, very, very important. Now, question number 4 is definitely going to be about proof of ties. Now they're gonna give you an opportunity to come and study in America, but are you planning on coming back? So this is very important. And if you're wise enough, you would want to actually answer this question tied to some of the previous questions, but sometimes you forget everything. So I'll still give you an answer of how you can answer this particular question in this section. So for example, I actually answered my proof of ties in a previous question, and that was actually question number 2, what I'm going to study in the United States. So this could be something like, I plan on obtaining a master's degree in computer science from the University of Boston, and I plan on coming back to my home country and being part of the digital revolution in this country. Currently, the government has allocated specific funding to digitize all of the old government infrastructure and make everything available online and on demand. I know that when I come back with these technical skills, I'm going to be very distinguished among all of my peers, because I will not only have the education from both countries, both this country and a far much developed country, but I will also have the exposure and technical skills to implement this fully fledged system. In fact, I've been in conversation with some people already in this position, and I'm maintaining my network and leveraging it upon my return. Now, this is an answer obviously for somebody who doesn't have strong ties. If you come here to the United States when you're a little bit younger and you're not married or you don't have any business, this is literally a good answer that you can give. If you have stronger ties, let's say a family that you're leaving behind, that is something that you can mention. You can say your spouse is here, your child is here, or if you have a business, your business is here, is running, or whatever it is. If you actually are employed in your home country, it's a good time to mention that you actually have a verbal return offer, or even an actual written return offer, so that once you graduate, you know you have a job that you're coming back to. Because you obviously don't want to tell them that when you graduate, you're planning on doing like OPT, CPT, all that stuff, because the visa interview officer knows that this is not guaranteed. So if this is your only source of expectation, it's going to raise suspicion. So definitely show that you're very comfortable coming back to your home country and you have a clear vision for it. Section number 5 is what I like to call quick fire questions. So this could be any questions that the US visa interview officer wants to clarify or has any doubts about. So this could be, for example, do you have any relatives in the United States? If you said you did, be prepared to say who is in America and what is their relationship with you to them. Be sure that you've done some research about this person. You could be asked, have you been to the United States before? So in my DS-160, I said I had been to the United States before. And so I told them when I came to America and why I came to America. A common question you might be asked, especially if this is your second or third time applying for a student visa, is, have you been denied the visa before? So if you indicated yes, be prepared to give an answer in this question. Now, if you've been denied before, there's so many reasons as to why. Most of the times they don't tell you why, but you need to dig deep and research and try and maybe possibly come up with a good answer as to why you think you were denied the other time. So you could say something like, in the previous time, I did not have sufficient funding to cover me throughout my education, but this time around, I have obtained a full scholarship. So that is a good answer. So whatever it is that changed from that particular situation to now, you need to tell this to the visa interview officer. And with that, we've come to the end of the video. I hope you found these tips helpful. All the best in your preparation for your interview, and I hope that you nail it. Congratulations in advance. See you next time, or watch any of my other videos. See ya!